Hello Unity devs! Due to the absolutely overwhelming number of requests about getting some new features added to the Unity karting microgame, I'm just going to wing it. I'm just going to get in there and see what happens, and you're going to join me. And first up, we're just going to jump into the old project that we were playing with last video. Now I was thinking what we could do in this game, and I reckon what we'll do is we'll make some sort of object that the player can pick up off the ground, and then they can throw it at the other player, and then maybe have it so there's an explosion and some sort of audio cue. I think that'll be fun. So maybe what we'll do first is we'll just hop onto Google and see if we can find ourselves some sort of free 3D object that we can use to throw. And I was thinking of trying something like a witch's hat. Not sure what they call it in America. Maybe that's not it. Witch's hat USA. What's that called? Is it a traffic cone? Maybe a traffic cone. Ah, there we go. That looks pretty good. Let's try this old traffic cone right here. Hopefully they'll let us download it. Nice. Perfect. Alrighty. See if we can extract that to our project. Maybe what we'll do is we'll create a new folder for it. Just call it 3D models. And hopefully that should just appear in Unity like this. Ah, Maya could not be found. That could be a problem. Oh no, maybe it's alright. Let's see if we can drag and drop it in. And we can, look at that. You beauty. Alright, let's bring it over a bit. Now we kind of need to see how big it compares to our player. We're just going to drag and drop our player in. Should be under prefabs. Drop it in. Ah, here's my green and purple player, which was used for my clickbaity banner. So let's see if we can find our witch's hat, or traffic cone if you're in the States. So we're going to scale it up, so you press R on the keyboard, and you just drag the square open up a bit. Size is looking okay, it's looking a little bit big. So W is to get the position and tool. Yeah, it looks pretty good. Alrighty, now that I've got this witch's hat in the game, I'm going to attach a collider to it. It doesn't look like it has one yet, so let's add that in. So I reckon it might be fun to make it either a box collider or maybe a capsule collider, because then it'll have really unpredictable movements. Maybe we will stick with the box collider for now, because that'll probably be a bit more realistic. And where is it? Ah, right, here we go. So that's really far too big, so we're just going to shrink that down a bit. Maybe down to 0.1's looking good at the moment. We basically want to make this collider roughly the same size as this this witch's hat. So let's just play around with it. Get it close enough. Not going to be too particular about it. And then, yeah, oh, here we go. Let's fix it up here. Alright, that looks good enough. Alright, and the other thing we should do is we'll need to add a network rigid body to it. Which reminds me, we need to add a rigid body to this as well. So the rigid body provides the physics for the game object. And that should be okay. Now that we've got these components, I'm going to try turning it into a prefab. Let's go here. Maybe we'll rename this and call it projectile. We'll drag and drop this in. Just make it a variant. Then we'll delete this from the scene. Now, as a good start, maybe what we'll do is we'll have it so that this kart player, even though this is temporary, we'll make it so it can shoot the thing forward, and we'll see how that goes. Once we've got that right, then we can try to add the net code to it. So let's make a new script and call it... Actually, no, let's not do that here. We'll do it in the actual prefab. So we'll call the script shoot object projectile, just to keep it consistent. We'll just right click and edit that. Alrighty, let's have a look. So let's just make it so in the update block, so if input dot get key, I'm just going to make it so when we press spacebar, the key code should be, I'm pretty sure it's space. Let's test this out by doing a debug log you pressed space. So we'll be able to check if that worked. So if I press spacebar while the game's playing, we should get that spamming in the log because it's in the update clause. Let's see if that works. There we go. Spamming just as I expected, which is good. Let's go back into our prefab here and back into the script. So we don't want to keep that. That's pretty pointless. I mean, we could probably keep that there as a comment, just for reference. But what we really want to do is we want to instantiate the that projectile that we made. So what we'll do is we'll need to create a new public game object. We'll call this the projectile prefab. And I'll just quickly show you how we assign that. So in our prefab, we'll now have this projectile prefab variable. And we're just going to go and drag and drop that in. And so that now has context and it knows what we're talking about here. So let's go and instantiate, which just means create or put it in the scene. And then the object, which will be the projectile prefab. Now that could be enough, but what will make it more useful is if we give it a temporary variable. So we'll call it active projectile. There you go. So now we've got this active projectile we can play with, and we're going to use we want to add the force. So I think that's done on the rigid body. So what we'll go is active projectile dot get component. We want the rigid body. We want to add force. Actually, we want to add relative force because it will depend which direction it's facing. Add relative force, and then let's just give it 100 just to see what happens, because we can tweak this later. Alrighty. So at the moment, it's going to spam the space bar, but we don't really want that. We're going to have to work out how to make it so it only happens once. But maybe this will be fun to see what happens. Let's give it a go. Look. There we go. So it's working. I mean, that's kind of fun, kind of interesting. It's not really what we want though, is it? We can actually notice that while this is playing, that it keeps instantiating in this spot here, which is not really useful to us because we need it to spawn from the player if it's going to be shooting it forward. So, yeah. You can actually see that it is pushing him a bit, which is sort of what we want. Maybe it needs a bit more weight behind it. In fact, if we go into this projectile and we add a bit of more weight to it, let's give it a mass of, let's go 5. And then see what happens now when we throw it in the game. There we go. That's got a lot more weight behind it. It's really pushing us back now. There you go. Alrighty. Well, we're making some progress already, which is good. So, to get it to work with the netcode... Actually, no, let's fix this issue first, because we can't have it spam like that. And we also need to fix the issue of where it's spawning. So, we need to make this so that when it instantiates, it has context to where it instantiates. So, let's see if we can get it to give us a position. So when you call instantiate, by default, if you just give it the game object, it'll just put it, I believe it's in the middle of the scene, so it should just be 0, 0, 0 in relation to the world hierarchy. But really, we want it to spawn in front of the player, and that's something else we'll need to deal with too. But anyway, when you click the down arrow on this, this will give you more options for how this function works. I think we can try doing this for now. Let's try the transform an existing. Let's see what happens if we do this one. So if we go projectile, prefab, and then the transform, and we'll just go game object dot. Whoop, that's not what we wanted. Game object dot transform. Now hopefully that will spawn it where this game object is, and this game object is the player prefab. Now there's already going to be an issue, because if we have it spawn straight inside the player, it's probably going to cause the player to get pushed a little bit. So let's just see what happens when we give this a go. Oh, and I was totally wrong. It is shooting over there. I was not expecting that. Let's see if it moves around with me. No, doesn't seem to be moving. Okay. Well, there we go. I've obviously done something wrong there. Maybe there's a different transform we need to be playing with. So it's obviously not number 2. It's talking about the parent. Vector 3 position. Maybe. Maybe this is what we want. Yeah, let's try this one. Alright. Projectile prefab. It's number 4, so this will be the position. So this is the vector 3 position. Let's go game object dot position. No, transform dot position. And the quaternion, let's just make a new quaternion. I'm not too fussed with that at the moment. Let's see if it's happy with that. No. New quaternion. Oh, wait, does it just need an extra bracket? There we go. Alrighty. Let's see if that is going to help us out. Whoop. Well, it's kind of doing what we want. I mean, it is now spawning in the right spot, but it's pushing him up in the air. And we did talk about that, so now we just need to make it so it spawns in front of the player. So let's go back into this prefab here. And what we'll do is we'll make a position that's just in front of him, and that's where the traffic cone is going to shoot out of, the witch's hat. Sorry, you Aussies out there. Let's create an empty game object, and we'll call it projectile spawn position. And we'll put this at the top. It won't let me. That's fine. Oh, whatever. That's fine. So let's just position this in front of him. That should be a pretty safe spot. We just need to make sure it's not going to touch him. Maybe do it from eye level. That might be good. And that's right in front of him, which is great. So yeah, that should be pretty safe. So now what we got to do is we got to tell the script about that position. So we're going to go public transform, and we'll call that, what do we call that here? It was projectile spawn position. All right, so now we're going to make it, instead of spawning where the player is, we're going to swap it out to this projectile spawn position. So that's a transform, so we should be able to replace that. And that should work. Fingers crossed. See what happens. Actually, we might move this down here so we don't have to keep messing around with it. We also get to have a view of the editor, which is nice. Well, that's not working very well. And the reason for that is I didn't assign that to the script. So we need to go back to our prefab again. I'm already regretting putting it here. Yeah, we just need to assign that projectile spawn position and then try it again. There we go. So that's it's sort of doing the right thing. I think it seems to just be sort of exploding, but not sure why that is. I think maybe when I can make it so it only shoots one of them, maybe it'll be a bit more predictable and we can see really what's going on. So let's make a boolean. The boolean is just a true or false, so we're gonna call it public bool shoot held, and we'll start it off as false. And so we'll make it so if you're pressing the space key, oh, actually, you know what? I think we can do get key down. Is that right? Let's see if that works first, rather than making this too complicated. It still seems to be spawning more than one. Not sure what's going on there. It's spawning 2 of them. Ooh. Ooh, that's interesting. It's spawning one in front of the player, and then it's spawning one in the ah, here we go. We know why that is. Because this player here is in the scene and I don't yet have it, so it's only shooting for the player. So if we disable that, oh, is it going to make it spawn again? Let's just ignore it for now. Anyway, it's clear that this does not have enough force at the moment, so I'm going to buff it up to 1,000 and just see if that makes an impact. I think in earlier trials of this feature, I think I made it 3,000, but let's just step it up one at a time. Yeah, that's still looking a bit slow, and we can see it's shooting to the right. Oh. Yeah, okay. It's always shooting off in this direction, which is definitely not what we want. So that reminds me about the parent that we were dealing with before. So if we want to make a new one of these, just so we can have a look at the different options. Oh no, wait. That's fine. But when this relative force, this is where we need to change it. So I was having a think about this while the recording was off, and I think what I need to do is make it so when this when the Witch's Hat instantiates, it spawns in a rotation that's the same as the this projectile spawn position. So I think what we need to do is change this to the projectile spawn position dot rotation, and oh, let's get rid of that. I think that'll do it. I think the next thing we'll need to do is change the XYZ for the relative force values, but let's just see if this helps. Okay, so that's good. You can see that every time I spawn it, it's going to his right, roughly, and that's really good. So, okay. Now, what we should be able to do is change it so if that's right, that's X. We probably want it to go Z, because X is across, Y is up, and Z is forward. So let's fix that up. And while we're there, let's, instead of making it 1,000, let's make it 5,000, just to give it a bit of oomph. And let's see if that shoots it in the right direction. That's looking really good. It's very distracting having our NPC also shooting it, but that's looking really good. So if I shoot it at him, it doesn't really move him very much. I guess it needs a bit more weight behind it. But I think that's looking pretty good. So yeah, with the way it works at the moment, unfortunately it won't work over the network properly. So we're going to have to give it some netcode and make it spawn on the server and make it so it shoots from the local player. So we're going to get stuck into that. Now this has been a while since I've done this, so you'll have to be patient with me. But I think what we need to do is go back into this script here, and we need to create a, we need to make this a network behavior first. So let's go back to using mirror. Alrighty. Now let's make it so we need a server function. So the way you do it in mirror is you put this command here, and we'll call it void shoot networked. And yeah, let's give it some brackets and then open that up. If we press the space bar and if and this dot is local player, then we need it to execute this shoot networked command. And instead of the stuff being down here, we need it to occur on the server. I put in network server dot spawn, and it's going to spawn this active projectile. Not sure if this will work, but we're going to give it a go. See what happens. Hey, look at that. Wow. Alright. So I can't get too excited yet because that's only one player. So let's delete this player from the scene just to make it less messy. Let's build and run. Alright, let's see what happens. Nah, doesn't work. Did not find target for sync message for 8. So what about from this side? Ah, nothing. Not spawn asset. Failed to spawn... Ah, you know what? I think I know what I've done. So, on the network manager, you need to tell the server what can spawn. So hopefully, that's all this needs. Actually, there was something else that I needed to fix up. I do remember this network rigid body wanted to know... Oh, it's already put itself in. Great. That's pretty cool. Oh, well, while that's loading, let's tidy this up a little bit. Okay. Let's see. Is it working? Hey, look at that. Unreal. What a gamer. And does it push him? Not really. But that's pretty good. I'm pretty happy with that. So, obviously, it'd be nice if it had a bit more force, so we can easily tweak that. Also, it's sliding on the ground is a bit weird. It'd be good if it tumbled a bit, so that could be something we can look at. But, yeah, I think probably the biggest thing at the moment is I'd like it to have a bit more weight so it can really bump him really hard. So let's just give it another bump up in the mass. Let's give it 30 and see if that helps it out a bit. And then if that works, I think we'll wrap up the video. Oh. Well, that's something I didn't think about. So when you add more weight to it, it means that we need to give it more force. So we just did 6 times the weight. So really, let's see if that's enough. Yeah, that's looking a bit better. Alrighty. Can live with that. Just thinking it'd be pretty funny to make it so all of the scenery is has its own rigid bodies and colliders, so when you throw these things, it, you know, wrecks the scene. I thought that'd be pretty funny. I won't do that now, but maybe later. So anyway, let's see if that works while we do it over the network. Still not really doing what we want. Not sure why not. Yeah, it's really not, what is going on? Oh, these things are looping around the whole track. That's hilarious. Huh. That's pretty cool. Wonder how many of these we can get going. Alright. That's fine. I'll need to work out why it's not giving much impact, but I think that's a wrap for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you enjoyed it, please consider liking and subscribing and leave a comment. Thanks for watching. Bye.